Hello, everyone. So here we are again, another episode in Ordinary People Are Doing Extraordinary Things. I'm Millie Ristic with Miller Coaching, and we talk here about the ordinary people who have certain challenges in their life and how did they overcome it by using their mind, power of their mind, their will, and all of it, their faith, and how did they created their lives? How did they overcome it? How did they think into results? So today I do have my dear friend Liss Amdal from Norway, and Liz and I met 3 years ago, I believe, right? 3 years ago, we met on our certification training with Bob Proctor, and since then we are very, very good friends. But Liz, it's not only that she's an amazing person, she also had a certain challenge that she overcame, and it lasted for years. And I really want you to hear this story because it will help many of you out there that have certain similar challenge like that she did. Hi, Liz. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
So happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Liz, for actually willing to share your story with us here today, and because we both know how much can help everyone out there. And so, Liz, it's been like maybe more or less around 3 years that she was trying, her and her partner were trying to get a baby. And they went through hundreds procedures, right? Or less than that, less than 100 procedures in IVF, and also many other things that people do in these situations. So, Liz, I would love you to tell us a little bit more about when did this start, and when did you start trying to get a baby with your partner? I mean, how many years ago? When did it happen? And then we will go along with that conversation.
All right, sounds good. I'll try to summarize up as good as I can. So I am been together with my with AJ now for a little more than 5 years, and we started. When I met him, I was trying to. I have to think now. I had I was I 40 or 41?
40, you're not,
I was 41
around 40,
actually.
41. Yeah.
I was 41 when I met him, and I had, what should I say? I almost thought that, my chance to have a family is gone. However, I wasn't willing to accept that. I very quickly I told him that I would like to have a family or have a kid, a child, and his initial thought was, well, I have to think about that because he already had a daughter, and I think she was 11 at the time. And me being 41, and he's a few years older than me again. So he's like, well, I didn't think I was gonna have more kids.
He was like, do I really want to have more babies around me?
He had to. I had to give him some time to think about that, and fair enough. I thought, I'm gonna put it out there quickly because it's an important thing, and so he took some time to think about it, and he came back. He didn't spend all like months, thank God, thinking about it, but he said he would be willing to do that as well, which was a great start for me, at least. And I'm I'm given the opportunity, or I wasn't. I didn't feel like the opportunity was taken away from me, if that makes sense.
Right, right.
That was important to me. I didn't know if it was going to happen, but I thought at least then maybe we have the chance.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought I would have a family, but somehow life happens, career, things
Mhm.
happen, relationships don't work out, and you know, you end up here, and all of a sudden I'm 41 and I have met my soulmate. It feels like, you know, truly life is beautiful, and after about 6 months I was pregnant and I had a miscarriage
Mm.
and my life fell apart.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. I because we talked before we started recording about this. How did you feel? You mentioned also that couple of your friends had the carrying the babies and you got miscarriage. So this is like not really, I would say, easy on you to accept miscarriage and
No, it wasn't an easy one. It was and I know a lot of people do have miscarriages. It's quite normal. Knowing now, it is quite normal, but it's doesn't make it easy when it happens, because it's when you want something so bad and it happens, it feels unfair. A lot of sadness and a lot of feelings come up, obviously, and that's when we decided that we should try IVF. There was nothing wrong with either one of us,
Mhm.
so it doesn't have to be something wrong with you or you know for you to do IVF. For us it was more the age, and also that we had schedules that didn't match up, so it was, it was hard to do natural.
Mhm.
So we decided, well, let's go for IVF, and then we thought, you know, this is going to happen right away, no big deal.
Because it already happened naturally, right?
Exactly.
That's why you thought that it will happen, no big deal, right away. Yeah.
And
So,
then
mhm.
first try doesn't happen, second try, third try, fourth, fifth, I don't even I yeah, years passed. I mean, a year passed, 2 years passed, and it's like it's devastating.
Losing the faith over and over again. So, mhm. Yeah, you want
Losing
to.
faith is one thing, but definitely just the constant disappointment, sadness, just thinking it will never happen. Why me? You know what I mean? All those feelings. It's like I never in my life thought I'd have a problem having a family or a baby. Think
Mm.
you kind of take for granted is that you can have a family, right? But it doesn't always turn out that way.
What else was in your mind, Liz, when you were getting these no results over and over and over again? And I know I have couple of friends I can say now that they are trying also the same procedure, having a baby, having a family, and they give up. They give up after third time, after fourth time, but you persisted like 3 years. So what was in your mind? How did you keep faith going on? Just to tell also, I just want to tell listeners and watcher people who are watching us here on YouTube as well, that Liz and I, we are mindset coaches and we are students of Bob Proctor. Many of you know who is Bob Proctor, the father in human potential. Sadly, he died a couple of months ago, but he was in this human potential for 60 years. So you know, right, how to keep faith. You know how our mind works. You know how to kind of not live in five senses, right? But to kind of uh, give yourself in faith and live in higher faculties like imagination and all that, which most of the people, they don't know this, they don't work on themselves, right? But still, even if you knew the material and everything, how did you keep for so long? How did you kept that faith for so long?
I think, like you said, the biggest thing is that even if I knew this kind of material, studying myself and how my mind works and what I'm thinking, how much of an impact that has on my life, even knowing that material, it was really hard. It was really tough. However, that's the only reason I didn't give up.
Yeah, I got goosebumps. Yeah,
It
yeah.
is truly the only reason I didn't give up, because I knew enough, or I should say, I knew too much of how things are working or created, and if you just keep the faith and hold that image long enough, it will happen. Yeah, it didn't happen. It was very frustrating at the same time. um but it's the only thing that kept me going. It's the only thing that kept me from giving up and being persistent in trying this for 3 years. Because I tell you, it's a rough thing. If you haven't gone through it, it's a bit of a rough procedure.
I never gone through it, but I know lots of friends who did it, and I know that's what my next question is. I wanted to ask you about is in this moment when you get this IVF, when you're in this procedure, I know hormones are going here and there, and it's crazy basically. First of all, on your body. Second of all, like your mind messes up, right? And also it's not that easy on the partner as well. So you also getting stuck and all that. So how you were going through these periods? Yeah, what was your um stuck situation, and also how did you get out of it every single time?
Well, like I said, the only thing that kept me going was the persistence, because I there was nothing wrong with us, and the doctors kept on saying, it's a matter of, you're healthy, he's healthy, there's nothing wrong with you, so it's a matter of the time. So if you keep on doing it long enough, it will happen. Now, I don't know if they say that to everybody or not.
Mm-hmm.
um, Maybe they do, but I did believe them, and I did believe that we were at a clinic that was very, very professional and very nice people, and I did believe that they believed that, truly believed that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very helpful, first of all, and I had studied enough to have enough faith that if I just keep doing it, it will happen. It's a matter of time. So that kept me going. Now, when I look back, I can also see somehow how it didn't, or why it didn't happen, if you're interested in that. And I was more afraid of it not happening than I could see it happening, if that makes sense.
So you were more, even though with the faith, with material, with everything, with your kind of right
Yep.
mindset in that moment, you were still living in fear that it's not gonna happen.
I was
It
still more
might not happen.
that it might not happen. Yeah, I was still more, or my dominant feeling. Now I see it. I didn't see it at the time because I did the best that I could.
Right.
Obviously, we all do. I did the best that I could, but I realize now that my dominant feeling was more of, I was afraid of it not happening. What's going to happen if it doesn't happen? Instead of expecting it to happen and being, even with this material. But when you get a challenge that is means so much to you, like
Hmm.
having a baby and having a family, which it means a lot for most people.
And it's very emotional.
It's very emotional. Even with knowing this material, it was hard to have the faith and believe.
And then also, Liz, when you were in this situation, you mentioned that you were crying a lot, right? You were crying, you were a lot, lots nature, connecting with nature, talking to creator, to universe. What was, okay, you were studying material and that, okay, but how did you get always out of this stuckness? Like you
Mm.
would be crying for days, and then what flipped in your mind, or what you were saying to yourself, or what were your thoughts that came in that moment, like after crying so much, like what were your thoughts that pulled you out of this situation? Can you?
Um, yeah, I have a few tips on that actually, and it's very. I see it very clearly now too. So I would cry for days, and my poor partner. There was nothing he could do. There's nothing he could do right. There's nothing he could do to get me out of it. Honestly, it was, and I remember him saying that. I feel like there's nothing I can do, and I think he was right. There was nothing he could do because he was so emotional. And if you've done IVF and you know that you have needles that you do every day, and then all the hormones, and it's like having your period times 200. And
Oh my God, yeah.
and whatever that means, ups and downs, mood changes, mood swings, and so when you get a negative message or the fact that a result that didn't go well, you go straight down. I mean, you go in the bottom and you stay there because it's not again, and also it felt like every time I had a negative one, it was worse than the one before because you stack them on top of each other. So stack
Mhm.
bad feelings on top of each other, so you get even worse. You would think that, well, if you had one negative, then you can handle it easier, but
But it's not.
it had the opposite effect, to be honest.
Mm.
um, However, I had studied this enough, so I kept studying as much as I could. So that's what kept me going, got me out of it. Studying, keeping the persistence, and I had one thing, and I did something like a visual for myself because if you draw a line and in the middle, and it is what it is, and just accept it. It is what it is, and then if there's a timeline, you can say, I I can be this close or I can be this far away. I can be this close. I can be this close.
Universal law of relativity.
Yes. And
Yes.
every time I thought, you know what? I could be this close. What if I give up now? I will
Mm.
never know.
Oh, wow. This is so good.
Yeah.
Very
So
powerful.
to get me back into thinking I can do one more time. I don't have to do 10 more times, tries or whatever. I can do one more. Because what if I'm this close? And what if this is the time?
So after every next time you say to yourself this, oh, what if I'm this close? What if I'm this close? And this gap closes, obviously, every time it closes more and more, right? Can you tell us, can you share with us also, you mentioned I've been studying. Like, can you recall what exact material you've been studying or reading at that time? Like, what were your go-to books or materials? Of course, thinking into results, our program, that for sure that help. And what else?
Many books, but I was at this. Yeah, I was mostly studying thinking into results, the program, and also Neville Goddard, The Power of Awareness was one of the my favorite books, and still is, and I study it every day.
Yes, we have it here.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm gonna speak a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So different books. And some books on faith and just keeping your faith, and there's one more, and Bob Proctor's all his books, basically all his material, and there's one more little detail that I want to share at the end that I know now made the difference.
Made lots of difference because you kept
No, it made the difference, and then it happened, and I can say now I have a beautiful daughter. She's almost a year and a
yeah, yeah.
half.
Oh, she's adorable.
So
Yeah.
what made the difference was because I had the persistence, I had the faith, even though I was in a lot of fear too. But at we had two more tries again. We thought, we have two more, and then we'll see. And then when I went there, I I thought, and I even spoke to myself, and I don't know what you believe in, if you believe in God or universe or creator, whatever. For me, it was like, okay, universe, you know what I want. I know what I want. I've done everything I can.
Yeah.
Now it's not up to me anymore. I give up. I
You
gave
let go. Yeah.
I I gave up completely. It doesn't mean when I say I give up, it doesn't mean I meant I don't want it. Of
Mm-hmm.
course I wanted it, but I let go. I surrendered. When
Yeah.
I let go and I surrendered completely, 2 weeks later I was pregnant. She was there.
Yeah. Because it is this resistance when you really want something, really, really want something, especially in your case, right? A family, a child, right? And you're pushing for it. You're sending the message to universe, I don't have it.
Yep.
Right? And then when you let go, as Bob would always say, you remember what he would always say, let go and let God.
Mm.
Believe it still that you will get it, do whatever it's in your power, but just, let God.
That letting go part, the surrender part, was really hard because I felt like, well, if I let go or surrender, that means I don't want it anymore, and that's not true. Because I do want it, but it doesn't mean that. It means you let go and you trust that you've done everything you can. There's nothing more you can do. And I said, if it's meant to be, let it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love it. Yeah.
And I had to get to that point because until I got to that point, I was still too much in fear. It's not going to happen. It was still, and now I did, and then I decided, you know what? And not only did I let go and surrender, I decided I'm going to be happy no matter what
For what? Mm-hmm.
happens, or if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because most of the people say, I will be happy when I get a child. I will be happy when I do this or that, right? We somehow, as humans, we somehow don't live in now. We always wait for something else to happen for us to be happy.
Oh, I was there totally. I'll be happy when I get pregnant.
Mm.
When I have that kid, I was there. Oh, I get it. I totally understand.
Yeah.
But when I let go, then it happened.
Mm. The most beautiful thing. Yeah. Liz, um, so especially in your age, right? And you had like, let's say 44 when you got pregnant, right? So how did you, I'm sure as humans, people around you were a little bit negative and Debbie Downers, let's say, um, telling you maybe your age, maybe this, maybe give up, maybe, how did you deal with this negative environment?
Well, I have to say, I wasn't. Not so many people said that straight to my face, but I could feel it. If that makes sense, you can feel some people in the environment when they think, well, you're too old, you've lost your chance, or you should have had kids when you were in your 20s or 30s, whatever. Um, but I had to be very protective of myself and my environment and who I let influence me, if that makes sense. So I had thankfully studied enough to understand that I have a choice to accept or reject something if you say something to me. It's not easy, especially if it's people close to you, but I do have that choice. So I had to be very protective of who I accepted truths from, I should say, that and protect myself. Um, I didn't go online and read a lot of the negative stuff. I only read happy stories about IVF. I never read the downsides. I never, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
kept on feeding my mind all the good things because we do get affected whether we like it or not. We do get influenced by what we read and what we study and what people say to us.
Yeah, and which information we accept. That is so true.
Yeah, and we do have a choice. We really do, but it's unless you're conscious of that, and even with that, it's hard.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that because our mind is so powerful that most of the people don't even know that. We don't know. They don't know how to use it and how to protect it. And I love what you said. Like you said, I protected my mind from accepting information that didn't serve you at that time, right? It's basically rejecting all the information. It's not right. It's not true. I know what is the truth, even though it's not yet there. But you know, you can.
I
Mhm.
did more than enough with my own negative thinking. I couldn't. I couldn't afford or anybody else to do the same thing. I had enough with my own thinking. I had to really sort out my thinking. And when I did, then she came.
Yeah, like what we always say, I usually love to use this example when I coach my clients is that how our subconscious mind, it's like dirt basically. And every thought, every information that you let in there, it's like a seed. If it's
Yeah.
negative information, negative seed, when you plant it in the dirt, it will grow. Subconscious doesn't know if it's a truth or no, doesn't care if it's a good information or bad. So what do you want to plant in your dirt, right? The weeds or flowers? So what you were doing, basically, you were protecting your mind and you were planting the flowers instead of the weeds.
Yep.
And also, Liz, I'm sure that it's very, very important to have supportive partner, as you said. You said he didn't know everything what he did was wrong in this moment. So right, how important it is to have this supportive community, right partner, and all surrounding.
Yeah, it's very important, and without him, I couldn't have done it, and I couldn't give him enough credit. And poor guy, because like I said, I don't think he could have done anything, or he didn't feel like he did anything right. And I'm sure he was right on that too, because I it was hard to handle your emotions and the sadness and all that. So, but it's very, very important to have the environment that will understand you. So I was lucky enough to have a couple of people that has gone through this themselves, that was very supportive and believed in me and that it could happen. And I also was very lucky to have this material on the side, and you as one of them, and
Yay.
others to support me in that journey, um, because without that I couldn't have done it. There's no way. Mm-mm. I would
Yes,
have given.
I remember on our calls, 6 a.m. study calls, we did visualizations, and yeah, I remember you were coming on that calls and being devastated, and just sometimes just one sentence could change your mood. I
Yeah,
remember, yeah, and give you more faith to keep going, to keep going.
and I remember, I'll never forget, we did that visualization, and you saw me
I
having,
saw, yeah,
and
I saw you pregnant. So
at
what?
the time I didn't believe it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I
I
couldn't see it.
remember.
It
And
was
I
it,
even told you you're gonna have a daughter.
I know. It's I didn't believe you. I couldn't see it at the time. I thought, "Oh, I know, I hear you saying that. She's just probably saying it just to be nice." But I know now you weren't. You saw it, and
Yeah, yeah.
she's
So powerful. Really, really powerful.
it's so important to have environment around you that can support you and actually can believe in you when you don't believe in the things yourself.
Yeah, yeah. To
Mm.
borrow their beliefs,
Means
basically.
everything. So I had to borrow you guys' beliefs for this until I could build off my own belief. And then when I believed it, and when my belief was stronger than my fear, and I surrendered, then it happened.
That's what I say. I'm sure you say to your clients too, borrow my belief. If you don't believe in yourself, borrow my belief in you.
Yep. Let
Yeah.
me believe in you until you believe in yourself.
Yeah, yeah, because this is so important. It's so, as you said, we all have this inner roommate in our mind that can talk us out of anything we want. And that's like kind of battle within us, but also having like a negative environment. Oh, that's yeah, that's really tough. That is really tough.
And I just one more thing that I want to mention is that I totally understand when people give up, because I was so close on giving up myself. So it is a tough procedure, it's a tough journey. I totally get it when people have had enough. I do, and I just I if you're oh, I just wish everybody could have this material and believe in it. And then because maybe they would have a chance.
They would not let go the chance.
Well, at least I didn't. I can't guarantee for anybody else, obviously, because it's your thinking and what you want. But if you really have that desire, like I did, and I'm sure you do, and you stay persistent and stay strong in your faith and surrender, it can happen. Mir-
Mm.
Miracles happen.
Miracles always happen when we believe in them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this. I love it, Liz. So now, I know you mentioned that later you found the different groups and social media groups that kind of could be supportive at that moment, but you found them a little bit later,
I
right?
found, yes, I wasn't a member of any of the groups at the time. Quite honestly, I didn't know that there were such groups. I didn't even think of searching for them. They were probably available at the time. I just wasn't searching for them because I was keeping myself busy studying this material, and I think they were very good support. And then the only thing I want to say on that, be cautious of maybe what you read or what you take in, because there's 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 bad stories and there's good stories, obviously, in a group like this, and where you can discuss. And it's very helpful to have some understanding. However, make sure you don't stay in the negative.
Hmm.
That would be the only caution on, staying, that you get stuck in the negative. And for me, at least, I had a tendency to get stuck in feeling sorry for myself because it didn't work, and I felt I was the only one on earth that didn't have a child, and which is not true, of course, but that's how you feel when you're stuck in this and you have your period times 200.
Oh my God, I want to go. I want to go a little bit there when you said, I felt sorry for myself.
Yep, I did.
But it's so, you see how your mind is like it, so you felt sorry for yourself, but you were still going on, moving forward.
I did. I felt sorry for myself, and I think it's important to allow yourself to feel the sadness and feel sorry for yourself for a few days. And I did stay there a few days. It didn't like that. I got out of it just because I studied, this material. It took me days. Now I can get out of things a lot quicker, obviously, because I've studied more. But it's without this material, I don't think I would have been able to switch and do those. I think it was 8 or 9 rounds that we did during the 3 years. It's and for those who have done this, you know what I'm talking about.
That is pretty a lot. Oof.
It is raw, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And not to mention, it is expensive as well. And I was too old to get support from the healthcare system in the country. The cutoff was 40. So
No way. So everything was like out of your pocket, right?
yeah, I had to pay everything and myself, and I was, again, lucky enough to be able to do that. Not everybody can do that, but I also believed in it so much. I tried to get support, but I got denied because of my age. So then, the odds were against me if you look at the system and, people I talked to. But thankfully, we never gave up.
Everything was against you, Liz. The age, environment, the healthcare system. Yeah, because in I come from Serbia and you're from Norway. In our countries, it's kind of late to have kids in this age.
Yep.
Now, thankfully, I live in America, and you are visiting also a lot. So it's a different story in this, I would say, years. But wow, that is also one big thing, to kind of many people will give up. Really, like what do I want? Like 40? Like what is it?
Yeah, now I'm still part of those groups, and then if people ask, especially people, or women over 40, I love to comment right away, because I'm like, you know what, I had a healthy baby and no issues with the pregnancy. I was throwing up a couple times, but only in the beginning. But no issues in the pregnancy whatsoever, and I had a healthy baby at 45, and that's not a given. That's so I'm very, very thankful.
Oof.
Mm.
Yeah, that's yeah. Although both of you guys don't look like you're this age, but you have very young spirit and all that. But it is very important, the mindset, and that's what I wanted you to address here. And thank you for that, because I'm sure there are lots of you out there who needed to hear this story today, to not give up. And not only, like there are lots of things in life that we're just giving up just like that because we don't know, you know, we don't know. We don't study ourselves, our minds.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. How did you, I have just one more question. How did you uh, dealt with your husband in saying or kind of convincing him to move forward, or he was just like fine every time, he was just doing whatever has to be done, you didn't have to kind of convince him?
Oh, no, I don't. I didn't have to convince him because he really wanted this to happen as well, and I think he was more. We have different fears, right? So I think he had more fear of what if it doesn't happen, that maybe I would leave, if that makes sense. Now
Mm,
that thought never crossed my mind. I was more afraid of how am I gonna live with this? How am I gonna deal with this if it doesn't happen? So we have different fears. So I didn't have to convince him to do another round because that was all me and can I handle it and can my body handle it? Because you gain weight and you feel blah, you feel horrible and all those feelings, and just another round you can't really get yourself back in time for the try again, so for him it was he was very supportive. He's like, is if you can handle it, and I support it 100%. And yeah.
what did you promise to yourself? When did you say to yourself, when I get a baby, I'll, I don't know, do this or do that, or I don't know, did you have this moment?
I don't think I promised myself anything. It's just that I felt that it something was missing in my life, and I really, really wanted it so bad, and I knew that it would make my life. I would be so grateful, and I am. I mean, I'm so grateful every single day. So if I ever have a bad day, I remind myself of how lucky I am to
Mm.
have.
And what you went through to
Yeah.
be where you're at right now. Yeah.
And the thing is, when you get pregnant and she comes, you forget all that.
Yeah. It's like wiped, right away out from your
It's
memory.
so worth it. Every single shot, every single
Oh,
sad day, every single, you know,
mood.
yeah, and mood swing, every single negative message, and every time you take that test and it's still not working, um, that is forgotten completely. Doesn't matter. It's so worth it.
And when you saw the positive answer, where you were, I mean, positive result, where you were jumping,
You have
you
no
didn't
idea.
believe it.
I even then I was like, well, I see it, but I wasn't completely letting myself, because I'm like, well, a lot of things could still happen, you know what I mean? And then I really had to focus my mind for the next 9 months on keeping my mind straight of, no, she's healthy, everything is healthy, I'm healthy. And I had to study even more, because then it's even more important that, because if you've had miscarriage before, it's very easy to fall back into, oh, what if it happens again, and go into the fear again. So I really, really had to focus myself and my mind for the next 9 months, and yeah,
Mm.
had a very easy birth as well. I mean, yeah, it was great. It's obviously not easy, but it was easy, for what it could have been. So
Right, right. what would you advise if somebody, I told you already, I have now two friends that I know that they're going through the same procedure, but I'm sure there are many of you out there. What would you advise? What would be one advice that you can give them?
My biggest thing would be study yourself and your own thinking, because your thinking has more effect on the result than you think. I think so anyway. That's my. I'm 100% sure that me studying this material and never giving up is the only reason that I have a beautiful, healthy baby today. Otherwise, I would have given up. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, this is so good. Thank you, Liz. Thank you so much for going back into that situation and into that story. I know Nicole is year and a half and beautiful, happy, healthy baby now. I cannot wait to see her soon.
No.
Here in America, yay! Thank you again for helping all of us. And it can be not only, you know, for having baby, like your mindset and unwavering faith, even through going through the fears and all these situations, really means a lot. And thank you for sharing it for all of you out there. I'm sure this was very worth it and very beneficial.
I hope so. And like I said, if you have any questions, then Millie knows what to do. She has this material and she can help you through this. And it doesn't have to be a challenge like I've had. It could be anything. This mindset study can help you get through anything. And you, Millie, helped me a lot, and so you certainly know how to do this, and you know what to
Thank
do. So, mm.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's why I call this podcast YouTube channel also extraordinary people are doing extraordinary things, because we all can do extraordinary things and create our own movies and win the Oscars. You won the Oscar, many of them though, but this was the biggest one.
This is the biggest one for sure, and I really do feel that way. I feel so fortunate and so lucky and so grateful for to have her and my beautiful family.
Yeah, so you see, magic is possible. It's just how much you live in faith, how much you believe in yourself and in the universe, which is really important, and how much you know yourself, how much you know your own thoughts, how you can basically control your own thoughts and use your mind in the way that will serve you. So again, Liz, thank you so much. Thank you for being here this wonderful day in Europe and morning here in America on the East Coast.
Thank you so much for
And
having
for
me.
you, hmm?
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was such a pleasure, honestly, to have you here today. And for you listeners, I want to tell you, if you know somebody who had a challenge similar or with something else or in their business, please let me know. I would love to do interview with them, because I believe that will help lots of people out there, millions of people. So don't be shy. My email address is millie@miller.co. And also, if you want to achieve big goals, big dreams, and not live in fear, but overcome that fears, also reach out to me again, millie@miller.co. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.